CosmicRadio.TV.
Welcome to Cinematalkraphy. We watch movies with you so you don't have to.
Welcome to Cinematalkraphy. I'm your host, Roberto Vegas, joined by
Brant Hughes.
And today, we're doing something random special.
What do you mean? We're just doing a commentary.
Yeah, but it's so we had an idea
To do a commentary.
like commentary,
usual.
like usual. But this is not our typical commentary because we're doing it to.
Just a movie.
What's the movie's title name?
I mean, like any other commentary that we do, there's a movie.
There's a movie.
We do a commentary for it, and you sync it up, and it's a real special thing. Today we're doing Fireplace for your home.
We're essentially talking about Christmas and sort of our memories and random stories and sort of things that come to mind in place of the movie Fireplace for Home, which was essentially one of these sort of stock footage kind of things that you'd put in your homes on your television screen. If you just
Please, Roberto. There's a narrative to this, I'm sure.
I'm sure there's a narrative.
Yeah.
I'm certain there's not. But yeah, so because it came to us that. So you honestly don't have to sync it to the video if you don't like. You still get the benefit of
if you're
all this.
a loser, you're not going to sync it up.
But if you want to have the full experience,
yeah,
you want the
true
full
experience.
the full true cinematography experience, you're going to want to sync this to it. You know what, Brant? Count us down.
Okay, so this is how it works. We're going to play an audio excerpt from this week's film, typically with 3 distinct beats, and we'll all start the film from the 0-second mark on the final beat of that sync cue. That way we stay synced to your viewing experience. Sound good? Here we go.
Fireplace for your home.
A very...
Created by George Ford. We should probably credit George.
Yeah, I mean, gotta give dude props. He knows how to make them.
So, okay. What is the best gift you ever got for Christmas?
Oh, I don't know.
Or what's because like for me, there are 2 gifts that come to mind for Christmas. Because the weird thing about me and Christmas and me around the holidays is that as a kid that kind of has a December birthday, and it sort of had the option of combining gifts and doing all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I always went for like for my Christmas and holidays for my big ticket kind of items. So like that's when I got my Nintendo. That's where I got my Super Nintendo, Chrono Trigger, things like that. But the memory that comes to mind, the thing that has always stuck in my mind, because I realize now as an adult what my parents got me for a Christmas gift, or somebody did. We're in Detroit. And, with some family friends, because basically, since a lot of our family at the time lived in Texas and Mexico, it's always hard to visit family that way and kind of travel, and that when your dad's a doctor and is on call quite literally for Christmas.
Right.
We had sort of this adopted family in Detroit, and they're in, I think, Bloomfield Hills, where they technically lived, Georgette and all them. I have a lot of great Thanksgiving and Christmas memories there. Great, amazing people, and it's always. I have so many fond memories. It's where I actually got introduced that way. But anyways, so Christmas comes around, and it's Santa Claus is giving out the gifts, and my name gets called, and I go. I think I have to sit in Santa Claus' lap for it or whatever, the usual kind of Christmas stuff. And I open it up, and the game that I got. And I'll never forget this game because it's one of my favorite games by Capcom.
Right.
And it's one of the better Disney games that they made by Capcom. Was DuckTales, the first one. And I remember like I got it, I opened it up, and I think that they had a Nintendo there, and so I played it that day, like in the basement or whatever, because that's where they had the kids stuff all put there at that. And it was such a fun game. It was so amazing. And it's funny I think about it now because. Like, that was for my parents. Like, parents obviously bought that game for me and gave it to the Santa Claus to give it to me. It wasn't, or somebody bought that for me. Someone thought that game should be in that kid's hand. He has a Nintendo. He'll enjoy that game.
Yeah.
Which I did. But even I think of also other things, like I think I got a Game Boy around the time of Christmas.
Nice.
I definitely got my Super Nintendo around that time. And that I think, and it's funny because even like one of the first games I got for Super Nintendo was, beyond Super Mario World that came with it, was Final Fantasy II, or better known as Final Fantasy IV in Japan. So it's kind of weird when I think of Christmas. I associate it with all these kind of weird gaming moments. What about you? Like, what do you associate Christmas with? Like, what's like if you were to take a single like point in your family history or whatever? Like obviously we have everyone has traditions for Christmas or has something. Like, what's the thing you tend to associate with in Christmas?
I mean, for me, it's always, going out and traveling and visiting family out in Oklahoma or whatever. So I don't really remember, like any, a lot of stuff just kind of blurs together in my memory.
That's fine.
But, I just mostly remember like spending time with family.
I mean, I do too, for sure. I'm trying to think if there's anything specific. I mean, because Christmas is a weird time because there's like of the things I associate with Christmas are a lot of like weird specials. Like I know like TBS as of right now, and they've been doing it for a while. Like we'll fucking play A Christmas Story for 24 hours. And I'll associate that. Have you ever had an off Christmas before? Because I think I've had like 1 year where I had as my mother calls it, the fa ra 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 Christmas. Which I know you had different opinion on Christmas Story and that kind of stuff, but in the Christmas Story at the end of the movie, they end up going to a Chinese restaurant for Christmas because the dog, the chicken gets ruined. And my mom will always call anytime we have a Christmas that's just us, or that's just very casual, nothing planned, nothing like no dinner, no nothing. She'll always refer to it as a fa ra 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 Christmas because of that movie. And I think we had a couple of those each year where it was just sort of that. It's weird because Christmas, maybe I'm the same way. Like a lot of my bigger things was when I was in Michigan, but like once we moved to Texas, like it's very rare that we have big. I mean, we do have big Christmas stuff, but it's very rare now. Not because family's not available. It's just we're always there. Like it's usually my brother, myself, and my mom, my dad. But it's never like the aunts and uncles. Like they always seem to go someplace else. Although I think this year we're gonna have some aunts and uncles and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's always been a very casual affair over in my neck of the woods. I know whenever I'd go visit my mom, we would for quite a while we would end up having like a big family thing at my grandma's house, and you'd see a lot of people there that you just don't see very often, especially since I live out here in Texas.
Yeah, that's gotta be hard. I mean, especially since you said you have family I didn't realize you had family in Oklahoma.
Yeah, most of my family is in Oklahoma, both my dad and my mom's side.
Oh damn, that's got to be tough. I mean, for us it was always tough because everyone lived here in Texas or Mexico and Michigan, so we never really. It was rare when we saw family come up to us, and it was rare when we went to family down there. I think I remember 1 year we had gone to Missouri because that's where my cousins used to live. And I think we had gone, and so let me tell you this story because this is a great story. I don't know if it's a Christmas story per se, but it's definitely a winter story. So this is in Missouri, right? We're visiting my aunt and uncle there at the time, and they had apparently the night before. My uncle, I think it was. I can't remember which uncle it was. It was Missouri. It had to be at the time. My former was it? I don't even know what. It's hard to say because my aunt got divorced and she's with somebody that's really awesome right now and that. But that uncle, I've blanked on his name right now. He was the one that actually introduced me to programming and things like that, which is a weird thing to say. Like he's the one that introduced me to like Turbo, like C++ and like the Borland compiler and shit like that. I think I still have those books somewhere too. But anyways, so we get to there, and this is after, again, we're traveling from Michigan to Missouri, so it's a couple-day journey.
Right, yeah.
We finally get there in the evening, and apparently they had thought during the day it would be a great idea to wash the driveway. Completely wash it down, clean it off, make it all pretty for the incoming, relatives, me.
Right,
and my family. So this is winter in Missouri. and let me say winter in Missouri gets pretty damn cold. Let me say this. Yeah. Winter in the north gets pretty damn cold. You think it's cold here, we're talking freezing.
Yeah.
On average, every winter.
Totally.
So we get there. and the driveway is completely ice.
Solid sheet.
Just a solid sheet of ice. And like I think we had a 4-wheel drive car, but we're not driving. The horrible part is we still had to climb up this damn sidewalk, like this damn driveway, because like we have to get the house.
Right.
So we're just like slipping and sliding our way up the grass and like just trying our best to plod around. Because we got to get up to the house somehow to at least get our stuff, and it's the most ridiculous thing. And I remember as a kid, just like we're crawling up the side of the grass and like whoosh going down like this, like the driveway was completely utterly iced. There's nothing but ice on this damn driveway, and it's just like what the hell that? And the thing is, they had forgotten they'd done it. I think because we were talking about it, like it's so hard to get up this damn this damn driveway. Like oh yeah, that's right, we freaking watched it, and it's just like what the hell are you thinking?
You need like metal cleats to get up the driveway.
It was like an expedition. Like we needed to like we're climbing Everest and shit. Just like whoosh whoosh because it was just.
You've all got like the harnesses and everything.
You think so, but I think my mother even at one point might have slipped and fell. I think I'll have to ask her about this. I might bring it up in a future 8-Bit Life with my family because I'll be recording one there. Because I'll bring up that story because I don't remember. I know it was during the winter because it had to be just because of the weather. I don't know if it was Christmas per se, but it was definitely during the colder months. And it was. And I remember we drove to Missouri, and I know we had an SUV, but it wasn't like we had. It wasn't like we're driving. Again, it's. Like my dad says, as kind of a thing, it doesn't. Yeah, you can have 4-wheel drive, but it doesn't matter if all 4 wheels are on ice.
Right. Yeah.
And this was it was one of those weird because the thing is, it was a clear sheet. It wasn't like it was this like frostiness, whatever. It was just like a thin sheet of ice throughout the entire driveway, and it's just like. We were like, oh, okay, well, let's go. Whoosh. It's like, oh, God damn it. And, it wasn't like the thing you expect a driveway to have.
Right, yeah.
But that's always a random memory for me in winter and driving.
I think I remembered a thing that I got during Christmas.
See, there you go. Okay.
And I don't think it's particularly notable, but I remember getting the first feature-length Pokemon film on VHS. And I remember that mostly because there's a picture of me holding up the VHS.
See, that's the thing. That's what it is that I remember, like, the DuckTales one I remember very vividly because there's video of me doing it. Mm-hmm. But I remember the Game Boy because I was going through a lot of my collection of photos. At one point, I was going through a lot of the, my mom and my dad and sort of working on a video at one point for something or another. And I had found a lot of the Game Boy footage, a lot of the Game Boy pictures of me getting the Game Boy, hugging my mom, and kind of having a sweet moment, and just realizing like that's like it's amazing when I think about it because I realize Christmas is sort of for me it's very much is a family thing. It's very much a family affair. Like there's only 2 holidays in my family that I absolutely positively cannot miss. I always jokingly say that these are the if I miss I'm out of the will kind of holidays. I jokingly say that. I know that if something that, but these are the 2 holidays I have to move mountains to make.
Right.
And that's Thanksgiving, and that's Christmas. And Christmas is that holiday where I really associate a lot of my memories of being with my mom, my dad, and family. Like even Christmas in Michigan, like I really have. Like there was because a lot of the time. For Christmas, we couldn't always go and visit family. I usually visit Christmas Day, but Christmas Eve, or it might have been around Christmas Eve, but there's always this dinner that happened. So in Michigan, my dad had 2 other doctors he would work with. Okay. I forgot the other doctor's name, but the one I remember the most is Dr. Chang, Raymond Chang. Apparently, I would always say as a little kid, "Are you Ray from the Ghostbusters?" My dad would tell me that because Raymond.
Sounds like such a kid Roberto thing to say.
It sounds like a kid. It really colors the Roberto of now and like why he is who he is to this day. It all starts with Ghostbusters. It begins and ends with it. Mm-hmm. God, I could talk about that for years. But anyways, Dr. Raymond Chan would always have this sort of dinner get-together for the doctors. I think went to a couple times. Not all the time. Went to a couple times. But because he knew the guy, because he actually is he's Chinese, but I don't know like what area of China he's from. Like I couldn't say that. But he would have kind of this dinner at the Chinese restaurant Empress of China. But because he knew the people and he knew what the fuck to order and get shit done, that was like my first time at those events having Peking duck and having duck as like a main thing. And oh my God, it's amazing. If you can get Peking duck done right, it's great. It's spectacular. But it's funny because like I've had those moments. I think of a lot of those things in Michigan that's what comes up. Because even though my dad and these sort of doctors, I mean, they were like visiting my dad at the medical center at the hospital he's at. Like that is a childhood memory of mine. It's why whenever I go to hospitals, like everyone kind of has a different sort of opinion. But whenever I'm in a hospital, as I smell the air, that kind of stale clinical air, I get kind of transported back in time a bit, where like my in my dad's office. And I realize it's silly to say that because most people when they go to hospitals they associate either someone being sick or something else, and I associate this weird like memory of being with my dad and all these kind of old computer ones and things like that. It's kind of interesting as I think about it now, just how my memories are kind of associated with that stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
But anyways, yeah, it's all the picture stuff. Of course, also Christmas has a lot of weird TV things. Here's the question. If you could remember any Christmas special from television right now, what's the one that comes to mind when I say Christmas special, go?
I mean, really the only one is Community for me.
The new ones, really.
Yeah.
Okay, explain the Community special to me, because I've never actually seen the Christmas special for Community.
Oh, it is easily top 2 or 3 episodes of Community for me. It is one of the best episodes of television I feel like I've ever seen.
Right.
So, Community, they like to do a lot of kind of themed episodes all the time. And
before you continue, I want to mention, especially if you're syncing the video, there's like 45 minutes left of this.
Yeah. It's riveting.
I'm sorry to break up the Community discussion. I just was like, how much time have we fucking recorded for? There is 45 minutes left of the goddamn fire crackling.
Well, I mean, look at that right log. Look at how much left there is that is unsinged. I mean, we got a ways to go.
Do you think this is a real fire or a gaslit fire?
Man, that's a good question.
I realize we're breaking the idea of you guys could listen to it, but the idea of like the fact this goes on for 45 more minutes, I have to be. It has to be a real fire because you're seeing some sparks there in the core.
Yeah, I like to think it's real fire. I mean, they certainly had a starter log in the middle.
What's
there.
What's also great is that I have the subtitles on by default on Netflix. And we're just seeing like
just music notes,
and the word crackle. I'm sorry. Go on with your Community story. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, and so they like to do themed episodes and stuff. And like the Christmas special is called Abed's Uncontrollable Christmas.
Okay.
And it's riveting television, and it's fascinating from a production standpoint and from a storytelling standpoint. So they did it traditional claymation kind of stuff.
Very much in the Rankin Bass, if I remember correctly. The Rankin Bass is the guys that did the Frosty the Snowman. Not Frosty the Snowman, but that one.
Rudolph.
Santa Claus, Rudolph, exactly.
Yeah. And so, they knew they wanted to do something like that because they grew up on those kind of specials.
Yeah, as did I, for sure. I mean, that's why I've seen the pictures of it. That's why I really want to see it. But anyways, continue.
And it was the kind of thing where the executives said, nope, no thanks. We don't want that because it's kind of weird because that's not what your show is. And also we don't get it. And also that's expensive and it's not in the budget. So basically they pulled together Dan and Dino, his writer buddy who plays Starburns on the show. Dino actually runs like a claymation studio. They did Moral Oral.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they're doing a film with Charlie Kaufman, which just wrapped up production the other day, so they're in post-production on that.
Oh, cool.
So
they have already at their disposal. There's these guys that do something like that.
Yeah, so Dino works on the show and as a writer and as an actor sometimes, and so they have these kind of assets. So basically, they pulled together on weekends and late nights, and they just wrote the story themselves, like Dino and Dan. and then they just put it together in their spare time and then got it out in time for Christmas. And so it's fascinating on that aspect. But it's also really interesting because they justify the claymation by saying that it's, you know, it's all from the perspective of Abed, which is the character who's always making film references and stuff like that. And he's always been like, that's the episode that kind of gives him a lot of depth, because what happens is, you know, he has kind of a tradition with his family, and that tradition broke that year, and it was really hard for him to deal with, and he didn't know how to handle it.
Oh, wow.
So he was reverting back
to childhood,
to those specials,
back to a simpler sort of child time. Wow.
And so it's like really emotional and touching, and it gives that character, which is my favorite character in the show, like a lot of depth, and it's really interesting. And so that's my go-to.
I may have to watch that now, because
it's so good.
Because my go-to specials are always sort of the silly ones, or things like the Rankin Bass movies. Are usually my go-to of like spoofing. I mean, that is a thing people tend to spoof on when it comes to that. But there's definitely some interesting ones. I think one of my more favorite newer ones before the show ended was the Christmas special to Eureka. Because their Christmas special, what they ended up doing with their last one they did was they kind of passed it between different animation styles. They did a whole like spoof on anime, spoof on Rankin Bass, kind of claymation stuff. Traditional 3D animations now come into flavor with things like the what's that Tom Hanks movie? Was it the Polar Express?
Yeah,
the Polar Express and things like that. And too, it's a Eureka episode, so I love me some Eureka, and I think that's great. But even then, I think of also we kind of alluded to all the different Christmas movies that come out, like A Christmas Story plays 24 hours.
Yeah.
There's other kind of Christmas specials. Like I remember that I think MythBusters had done a crazy Rube Goldberg machine of a Christmas thing to like do to light a candle or some shit like that for the holidays. That's also one weird thing too. Is everyone is now we say Christmas specials, but like everyone always, because it has to be politically correct, people say the holiday special or Happy Xmas and things like that.
Mm-hmm. I like Xmas. It's edgy. It's got an X in it.
All right. So since we're obviously a movie podcast where we tend to do commentary movies and stuff like that.
Yeah. What do you think we're doing right now, Roberto?
Yeah, I guess you're right. We are talking about a fire. I am amazed these things exist, by the way. Let me be perfectly honest.
Pretty weird.
This is like, because these things, you can buy them on DVD. you know this, right? Like, you can go to Best Buy right now and buy this on Blu-ray in 4K.
It's pretty dumb.
Someone made, because the thing is, you think of again, this is a digital version, and we could say at least the barrier to entry is lower, even though it's on Netflix. This is on like DVD somewhere in the world.
Yeah, sure.
That means that, again, people there was enough of a manufacturing requirement that people will buy this shit. Oh, I'm not saying that you don't have to buy this. If you did buy this movie, I apologize for everything. If you're like, no, I had to sync this movie up and buy a $5 copy, Robert, of the DVD. And by the way, it doesn't sync with the DVD copy. It only syncs with the Netflix copy, because the DVD copy has additional minutes.
All of those special features.
Sure, exactly, like the commentary by director Gerald Ford, or Mr. Ford. I don't know if his name is Gerald Ford. George Ford, thank you. Yeah. It's directed by director George Ford.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Do you think George Ford right now is just rolling in the money?
I mean, I think.
Do you think he has any? Did he get any? Let's put it this way: how much money do you think he either made or lost on this?
On this, he made more than you would probably expect, but not so much that's like.
Do you think
that's his life now?
Do you think he broke even on this at least?
He's the Fireplace guy.
That's what I want to know, because the thing is
it's
that
on his business card.
During our kind of exploration of all these videos, we found other ones. Apparently, there's a market of untapped like stock footage and shit that we need to get into.
Well, we live in the digital age, Roberto. There's a lot of people without fireplaces, and they want to be like, hey, I got sort of a fireplace. Check it out. Let's watch this movie.
Yeah, let's watch this movie. Let's watch this movie and listen to Christmas songs. All right. So here's a question. What is your favorite Christmas song? And it can be a funny Christmas song. It can be a real Christmas song. It can be any Christmas song. Give me something that just inspires Christmas songs.
So Christmas song for me, the only thing that really even remotely, well, typically speaking, I don't like most Christmas songs because it's like, hey, we like Christmas, so we made a song about Christmas, and isn't it real Christmassy?
Yes,
and
you're absolutely
I'm
right.
That does not work for me.
Right.
But I want to say there's a short EP by the band Snowden that was inspired by Christmas. There are a couple Christmassy songs on there.
Yeah.
But it's very much in the style of the rest of their body of work, and it just happens to be kind of Christmassy. And I liked that, but that's about it.
So I have a couple go-to ones. For certain, the 8 Bits of Christmas, which is a chiptunes album done by the guys there at 8-Bit Peoples. A lot of Null Slave, Bit Shifter, people like that. That's all these typical Christmas songs.
Does sound like bitty names?
Yeah, they are chiptune artists, very big ones. And these are all Christmas chiptune music. Like it's Jingle Bells done from a Nintendo or that. One of the best ones I think is Hallie doing. I forget which one he does, but he does no, it's Jingle Bells. Hallie does Jingle Bells, but he does it on like different arcade sounds, like different arcade kind of music sets, like the opening up with like a Marble Madness kind of sounding thing, and kind of bounces it between different arcade music, and it's a very cool piece of music. It's a very cool album in general, just especially if you're a chiptunes guy and you're very much a game aficionado guy. It's a good one. The other one I think of course, is I always forget, what is it? Is it Mannheim Steamroller? Not Mannheim Steamroller, like Mannheim whatever orchestra. The ones that do they do a version of, I think, Carol of the Bells that everyone's heard. That orchestrated version. Manchester, something like that. Like yeah, you've heard them.
Sure, yeah.
They're one of those kind of like go-to Christmassy bands, but they have actually like these really, if you actually listen to it as a musical person and hear how crazy it gets, like it was made famous in one of the Home Alones. I'd like to say maybe 2 or 1. I can't remember.
I think it was 2 because he was out in New York and there was some stuff going on.
It was at that Christmas that as he's like time to prep for that thing. That song is what's playing, and it's a very epic sounding Christmas song. And it's, if you hear it straight on through, you're like, holy crap! It's actually a really good piece of work. It just has to be a Christmas song in that kind of vein.
Yeah.
And of course, my all-time personal favorites of new ones is they haven't done it in a while, but the Venture Brother Christmas stuff. Typically Doc Hammer and Jackson Public, the two guys that do it. I forget their real names, but that's their pseudonyms and what they're known as. They will do Christmas stuff as like either the Henchman 21 and team, Dr. the Monarch and stuff like that, and do like the Christmas story songs. Like I think at one point, like it was they did the Monarch and Dr. Girlfriend before they were married, doing, I think it was All I Want for Christmas Is You or something like that. It's so ridiculous. I like the best one I think was it was Henchman 21 and I forgot the other henchman's name. The one that died. Was it? I heard the one that died. Was it 23? I think it was 23.
I don't know.
I'd have to really look again. I feel terrible. I don't know my henchman names. But it was Gary and essentially the other guy, and they had done the duet "A Wonderful Christmas Time" that was with Paul McCartney and whoever else he did a duet with. It's so funny because it's them just singing like singing having a super wonderful Christmas time, and it's so ridiculous. It's such a fun thing. It's free online. We'll definitely link it to you guys if you've not heard it because it's so fucking funny.
Yeah, it sounds pretty ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, and I love it for that reason. Because that's really the things I like about Christmas are the ridiculous things. Are because there's so many, like you're absolutely right when we talk about like Christmas songs. There's so many of those like all I want for Christmas is like that kind of like that like just aping on it being Christmas and like that. Because You can, if you want.
the season to buy my single.
So I want to know what the most ridiculous Christmas single is at that point. Like, what's...
Oh, wasn't there that huge one with like, let's get all the big name artists we possibly can?
Oh, they've done that so many times.
Yeah.
There's the right... Yeah, they've done that before. You know, I think...
Because those are always pretty crazy.
I think the most... My guilty Christmas pleasure music-wise... And this is guilty pleasure, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that right now. Because if I hear it now, I probably won't like it as much as I thought I did. Because I only like certain bits of it. But for a while, my jam for Christmas was, I think, the 12 Days of Redneck Christmas. But honestly, I think that's been replaced as of late with the greatest Christmas song ever by Richard Cheese.
Okay.
Christmas in Las Vegas.
I've never heard it, but I know that
Richard
artist.
Cheese. Yeah, Richard Cheese is the guy that does the lounge covers a lot of popular songs. And Christmas in Las Vegas is amazing because it's Richard Cheese doing lounge music, just Christmas in Las Vegas, doing all these like decorate the place with chips and doing a whole bunch of just Las Vegas references and things like that. Because that's, because we can get, because there's also the, I think at one point fucking, what's his name? They did the I'm an Asshole. Dennis, was it not Dennis Leary? Was Dennis Leary? He's in the show Rescue 911, not Rescue Fire, where the fuck it is.
Yeah, I think you're, if not right on, pretty close.
Yeah, Dennis Leary. Yeah, because he had a whole bunch of comedy shit back in the day, and one of the songs he did was like I'm an asshole, and around that same time he did a Christmas song. I think he called it Merry Fucking Christmas. That's not terrible, but that. But yeah, because TV specials were, I think that's pretty much it. How much more fucking time do we got on this goddamn video? I realize I'm rambling, but let's see. Let's do a check.
Halfway through.
We're halfway through the fire.
That's what's up.
It's still burning strong too.
Yeah, I mean that right log, it's real resilient. I mean we're getting some solid ember work at the bottom of that log, but
all right. What is your okay? So if Community is your favorite Christmas thing, what is your most hated Christmas thing? It can be a special. It can be just a concept in Christmas. It can be something that you just I mean, I know the answer, but maybe this is how we get the answer out.
Grumpy Cat's Christmas special.
I have not. There's a part of me that wants to see that. So before we landed on today's commentary, we were kind of browsing around on Amazon trying to figure out things to write. Usually during now we for Christmas, here's your Christmas gift, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to pull the veil back a bit and kind of explain the process on how Brant and I recorded cinematography when we recorded cinematography. Hey Brant, what do you want to comment on?
I don't know.
Let's open up Amazon Instant Video and Netflix to see what's available.
All right, yeah, sure.
So we open it up and we're going down through all the videos that are on Amazon. Seeing the typical stuff in Christmas.
Yeah.
And we saw what was it? A Grumpy Cat's worst Christmas ever.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is, we hadn't clicked the video yet, right? And we look at that, we're like. We kind of shake our heads in shame.
We should have watched the trailer. Could we have done that?
We could have watched the trailer.
We should have done that.
We'll probably watch the trailer after this.
Yeah.
Because I think it's better if we didn't watch the trailer right now. Because we look at the video and it's got 7-star. It's got 7 people and a 5-star rating, and like a 5 or like 4.8.
Critics agree.
We're just like, who the fuck? Why the fuck does this have 7 reviews?
Yeah, it was just so like what?
You had the best response for it, which was that what was it that there at least was some...
well, yeah, because you were like, I can't believe these people liked it. Like, what is happening? And I was just like, well, like there are 7 people who really wanted to see some Grumpy Cat material, and this gave it to them. So of course they liked it.
And so we click it.
Nobody else is gonna watch it.
Yeah, and so we click it, right? We click it, going, let's fucking see who these people are. Expecting like the top review to be like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing on the planet. This is amazing. What did the top review say?
Worst movie ever. This movie is the worst movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, don't watch this. For the love of God, please
Yeah.
ignore this like the play. And I was
Stop reading
This
this
is the
review.
This is
5 stars.
Yeah, this is the reverse review ever. And I love it because it's the top review. And we just...
3 people agree.
Yeah, we just fucking cracked up.
It was
Because
pretty
it was
good.
just like, what the... Like, this was the most... It was like watching the reviews for, like, the Netflix test footage stuff.
Yeah.
Which, those are amazing.
Those are pretty great.
Those are amazing because, it's like, you know, they exist.
It's like some surreal modern art kind of stuff.
It is. We're going to one day talk about that and figure that out. Maybe we'll save that for New Year's Eve. Make that our New Year's episode. So, maybe we'll make that April Fool's. Oh, there's an idea. I don't know if I let that slip a little early.
Just cut that out.
But yeah, it was weird to see all those stuff like that because there's so many. I mean, Christmas has some very bizarre movies out. Like there's that. Didn't Tim Allen do a Christmas movie? I mean, he did.
Yeah.
He did multiple.
I mean, he did all the Santa Clauses.
How was that a thing? What was that like? Here's the question:
I liked the first one.
Was it worth? Because I never saw it.
I mean, it was in the same vein as Home Alone. It's kind of one of those things where you see when you're young and it just
Yeah.
like sticks with you.
I guess it's true. Yeah, because I mean, like we
But
were,
the idea was kind of clever.
yeah,
Sort of.
sort of. I mean, it was again. The thing of that movie was when it came out, it was during Tim Allen's like the hype. I'm not saying that he doesn't have a high point now. Who knows? I mean, he could probably just ride off the Home Improvement residuals at this point in time. Oh. God damn it! Oh fuck!
Show's great.
Did you remember the a very special episode of Home Improvement?
No.
So there's an episode of Home Improvement. I remember them making a big fucking deal about this. This is how you know this show existed in the 90s and how you know
kids
that
are doing drugs.
No, yes, it was that. It
Yeah.
was they had found in I don't know what his fucking character's name in I think it was Jonathan Taylor Thomas's character.
Yeah.
Either it was the older one or the middle kid, which I forget who played the middle kid or whatever one of those kids.
Yeah.
They found like in his collection of shit.
roll of marijuana.
Yes, you remember this now.
No, I don't.
Yes, but it was this. It was literally about a joint.
That's
and
funny.
they made his fucking like special out of it, like a very special episode. Like, oh my god, our kid's doing fucking weed.
Wilson's just across the fence like 420 blazing, rolled it up, kids.
See, I imagine probably Wilson did smoke out a lot.
Yeah,
It's
probably.
the only thing that made sense in that world. Wilson was our. What I love, again, I love I love the show just because of how fucking ridiculous it was to have a character of Wilson. I don't think they ever revealed his face.
I thought
They might have for like the wedding, maybe.
I don't know.
I
feel like at some point they must have, unless it was just something that I just saw online.
Maybe because I know because they made a very big deal even when they had the Allens over or the the Taylors over for
Yeah, when they're like in his house.
Because they made a big deal covering that face up with like he wants mashed potatoes and shit like that. And the only other time I can think of Wilson being out was during the failed wedding of Al and whoever the fuck he was engaged to for like so goddamn long. Which
Oh yeah.
yeah, you remember that?
Yeah.
And I remember that they made the because the running gag had always been Al's mother's weight. And I remember like the gag the off camera gag they put was his mother fainting and that the church rumbled a bit and they shook the camera because that was the gag. But yes, but yeah, back to. But well, anyways, the point of that being was that was during the height of his fucking career. Like that's when Tim Allen was in high demand because you're right about Santa Claus movies. I was thinking of the one where it was Tim Allen. And like them not having a Christmas or some shit like that. I don't remember what that movie was called, but
I don't remember.
I remember there was a Botox scene where apparently he had gotten Botox or some shit like that.
Weird, yeah, I never saw that. I don't know.
It's okay, probably during the later Tim Allen years. I mean, there's some decent Tim Allen stuff like Galaxy Quest is pretty fucking amazing, but
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there. God, now I'm thinking of fucking Home Improvement.
So what's your favorite aspect of Christmas?
My honestly favorite aspect, beyond hanging with family, because that is actually my personal favorite.
Sure.
Is probably honestly is the Christmas specials. Just because usually Christmas Day, for me, growing up was we'd go home. I'd be home. I'd be off from school, so there'd be nothing else I had to do. We'd end up going to church that morning, doing the usual, Catholic thing we do. Mm-hmm. When we came back, I was free reign to do whatever, and I thankfully got a hold of the TV quickly, because if we're at our house, I could do that because there was a TV around that I could watch it and still have to go down and socialize with family and things like that, but I could watch A Christmas Story and whatever else and cartoons and stuff like that. But if not, and we're at someone else's house, then it was just like, here's the football game that we're going to watch, because everyone watched the sports but me. But yeah, a lot of it was Christmas stuff and just hanging with family, just seeing relatives I hadn't seen in a while. Like traditionally, my Tio Jose will come up to Michigan, or even to Michigan would come up, and it's just like I've not seen, Tio Jose I've never seen in years, because he lives in Puebla. He lives there in Mexico. It wasn't like. Mm-hmm. Yes, I've been to Mexico. Yes, I visited family, but it wasn't like, I did this every year, or did it every month or whatever. It was a very rare thing when it happened, and it was always good to see my Tio Jose, because he's my mother's brother. Okay. And so he's my mom's brother on my mom's side, obviously, and so it was really cool seeing him, because he grew up in Texas, and so I got to at least talk about. You're laughing at something. What are you laughing at?
I was just thinking about, he's my mom's brother on my dad's side.
Like, how does that work out?
Not gonna ask questions.
No, he's my mom's brother on my mom's side. I said, on my mom's side. But I never forget to say it. But anyways, yeah, it would always be a rare thing to see him, and so I always think of family usually as that thing. And I realize it's cheesy to say, and I realize it's a stereotypical thing, but that's what it is for me. That's what Christmas really represents. That and just video games. I don't know why, but video games seem to be the overarching narrative of my life, is just gaming in general, and how many things I got for my birthday. Again, because I since my birthday is in December and Christmas in December, I tend to those things blur together, because I'll usually tell my mother, like, what do you want for Christmas? I'll go, can I buy my birthday a Christmas gift to get really awesome video game system gift? Can I please get Chrono Trigger? Can I please get this? Because again, those are my weird happy memories, are like, holy shit, awesome video game I've wanted to play. Like, I remember when I got the Super Nintendo for my birthday, because it was associated this Christmas nonetheless, because so for those who, I know I'm not sure how much you know about the SNES, but on the first gen of the SNES, I think the second gen too, it had this thing called the multi-tap. You could plug in the back of it. It was a multi-AV out. Sorry, you could plug in the back of it, and you essentially didn't hook up your TV. You didn't hook up to the coax anymore. You could hook up through actually the yellow cable at the time. If you buy a new GameCube one, you can use S-Video as well and get even a better picture. But the cool thing about it was that it gave you the stereo channels, the left and right channel audio. And during my birthday, my parents let me hook up my Super Nintendo to not only the big TV in the living room, but also the stereo in the living room. And so my parents had these big, giant, like, this was like, again, this is back when rack systems were a thing. Yeah. And, they had a CD player in there. I think they had a record player and a tape cassette player. But the thing was, I was smart enough and I knew how to hook things up into it, because I'd learned young age how this all worked. Mm-hmm. And I had hooked in the Super Nintendo, put in the right input. And I was just, the game I played, I think, was Final Fantasy 2 or Final Fantasy 4. And the beginning of that game with the Red Baron coming in, the that music there just was just like
revelatory.
It was, again, if I listen to it now as a kid, think about it, like, it's still great music, but it was like, oh my God. Because, like, for me, the sound was, for me, it's funny. Now that I think about it, me doing the Move Draft Minute and things like that, for me, music in games is what has stuck out in my head the most, and what has become part of my being more so than just the pixelized images and sort of even referential things, but a lot of the music things. Like I could come to you right now, Kefka's theme, without even batting an eyelash. There are times where I've walked around in the real world, and like in my head will be specifically the overworld music from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles NES game, the first one, not the arcade game, mind you, the fucking hard as hell one. And so, thinking about that and how much I adored the sound of a game, like even as a young kid, I realized how much I adored the sound, because when I plugged it in and heard that sound, I think that might have been what did it. It was just this like, oh my God, not only is this in stereo, but it's like you hear the boom bass and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Just like, oh. I'm literally this little kid just like, my friends didn't realize they were playing the game. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Hear this? This is amazing. This will never happen again. Nothing will ever be this good. Maybe not that extreme, but yeah, gaming is my memory. Gaming and family, and maybe that really tells a little bit about me as a person. Maybe that really
makes sense.
Makes sense about who I am as me as an adult. Like, oh, that answers everything. Like you getting a whole bunch of video game systems, a Game Boy as a birthday gift. Yeah, we know exactly who you are, Robert.
Yeah,
we understand. Because I think even one Christmas, I might have even gotten a sound card for my computer. Which came, was it Christmas or it had to be birthday? It had to probably be, again, those things so much blur to me that I forget what is Christmas and what is birthday. But they're all the same memory, in my opinion, because again, when you have a December birthday, you tend to blur those two together. Sure. It just happens. But yeah, that's what it is for me. It's family and video games and weird movies like, Ernest Saves Christmas. I can't believe you've never seen an Ernest movie.
Yep, never. Not one.
Not one.
And I'm fine with that.
All right, let's take a fire check. We have 15 minutes left of the fire.
Yeah. All right.
It's still. I look like it's still burning pretty well too.
Yeah. Like I said, that right one's real resilient.
This has to be.
It's burning on the other side, so it's. We're not gonna see that one real burnt up until like the full thing is up.
Yeah, well, maybe this is all part of the narrative of our Forge narrative. Is
they said 2001 was a slow burn.
So as we kind of come to the end of this video, obviously, here's the question, because obviously this will come out hopefully at Christmas, and most likely this might be. We're definitely going to come closer to the end of the year with this video, and though we're not a full year of cinematography yet, we're definitely going in from 2014 and 2015. So I guess I should ask you, while I have a chance, what is your mission for 2015? What do you hope to happen? Like, what are you going, whether it be personal, professional, this podcast, whatever. What does 2015 hold for Mr. Hughes?
Man, I don't know.
Just rolling in money? Feature film? Short film, maybe?
I want to make cool stuff. I don't know. It's so hard to.
I realize it's a loaded question. I understand that's it's always hard to I don't know, because it's hard to think that far ahead. Even not because you don't think that far ahead. It's just like I don't know.
And we spoke previously about how I have a super hard time just keeping track of time this past year. So tracking time in my brain for next year is like I don't even know what that means. But yeah, I don't know. I want to make cool stuff. I don't know. I feel like I got a lot of stuff figured out, and then I just let whatever happens happen. I don't know, man.
For me, I think it's. I mean, one's more of the same for sure, but it's like for me, like I almost feel, and this is the hardest part about being creative on things like that and trying your damnedest to make your creative passion your full-time job. I always feel that I'm not doing enough. That I could be doing more, that I could be sleeping less, that if I only slept 2 hours, that I could output more, or I could do something. And I know that's a dangerous thing because I have a feeling in 2015 that I'm going to hit some type of weird breaking point. But that's an ominous sign if I've ever heard one. But I know
Look forward to it.
Looking forward to the breaking point of just like, welcome to Cinematalkraphy. Fuck all this, Brent. What the fuck are we doing commentating over movies? Why the hell are we recording over Ernest Scared Stupid? Why did you let me do this?
Man, if we're recording over Ernest Scared Stupid, you really have reached your breaking point.
I will have just lost it. No, you'll know if I lost it if I'm talking about if I'm like, you know what movie we need to do? Okay, this is when you'll know I've lost it, Brent.
Mm-hmm.
When I say, all right, Brent, I got a perfect idea for a movie reaction. Let me tell you this. Let me pitch it to you right now. It's going to be gold. It's going to be comedy. It's going to be Oscar-worthy material. Paul Blart 2. That's when you shoot me in the head. Like, you can just cap me right there. Just blam.
That'd be too good for you.
I'm like, it's like no, you're gonna suffer through this spiraling death spiral into obscurity, Robert. And I'm not gonna join you. You're gonna record that reaction solo.
Yeah, you're on your own on that one.
No, we're not doing that. No, but in all honesty, really, when it comes into the future, I'm hopeful because I'm proud of how this show's turned out. Because I remember kind of in our experiment, back in October, I think we were saying, kind of talking about just, our show. I think we started recorded this back in October, but we didn't really release it.
Yeah, that's when we did the Donnie Darko one, because I remember it was appropriate for the month.
Yeah, exactly. And so we had figured out a lot of this stuff, and it's funny. October. It wasn't October this month. It was October last. When was it recorded? Was it October of last year? Okay.
Last year.
Yeah, but the show didn't come out until 2014.
Right.
I don't think. Yeah.
Like March or so.
March, right? Because we basically had recorded some test stuff to see how it turned out and kind of go over it and figure it out. So even though 2013 wasn't recorded, I say the launch date is what counts. So 2014, definitely the podcast of this year. I think Jump Point might have been this year or last year. I thought
it was this year.
Was this year too? Fuck,
yep.
God. See, that's the thing, is that I've launched 2 new podcasts this year. I've increased the output as much as I've this year. I've definitely, 2014 for sure for me in my kind of career is the year that I realized, and I know this sounds very, I don't want to sound like an asshole saying this, but it's the year I realized that I think I'm good at this, or that I've actually had outside people say that I'm good at this, and people that I respect say that I'm good at this. And it's and having that feeling, having that sort of vindication by people who are not just your, like I think I told Tom this in a kind of a personal conversation, and I can reveal this because this is what I said, and I've said it publicly anyways, was that this is the first time that I can say Tom Merritt is a peer versus Tom Merritt is this guy that I look up to. And that's kind of a weird thing to be able to say. I'm just laughing.
Go ahead.
A weird thing to say that these are the guys that, that are luminaries. So that like I would say, if you could almost say right now, theoretically, that Ryan Connolly is your peer.
Sort of.
I mean, how does that feel?
I mean, that's cool. That's cool.
You're just waiting for the one day where you can say, what is it? Christopher Nolan's a peer.
That'd be cool too. I dig that.
But that's sort of what it is. I think that's been the tale for 2014 for me is kind of coming into my own, and whatever that means, and getting more into that. And so I'm hoping 2015 is hopefully the year where everything kind of falls into place more.
Yeah.
I'm definitely setting things up to fall into place. Because, while a lot of people may not know this, a lot of the shit that happens is very much planned and calculated. Even though it's experimental, it's always like, oh, let's take this shot because it's not like a good shot to take, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You never asked me what my favorite part of Christmas was.
What is your favorite part of Christmas?
I'm gonna try not to make it like a real bummer,
Okay.
but it's gonna sound like a very
We got
me
7
thing.
minutes in the
Yeah.
fire.
It's like the sadness of Christmas.
What's-
I love the sadness of Christmas.
What? Explain the sadness
Like-
of Christmas.
I really like when I drive to go visit family and stuff, and you see like all of these houses with all their lights, and then you're just like alone on the road, and I don't know what it is, but I really like it.
Like driving home? I don't know. That's a sadness. That's more of a anticipation.
No, there's a reflection and solitary nature to it, and then it provides an interesting context that helps you see things in a different light,
Okay.
both small and large scope.
I'll give you that. I mean, even me driving home for Christmas, I do like the drive home because it's definitely a time to reflect and a time to think about things. I mean, right now I'm doing it just because that's what we do when we're talking about Christmas and kind of thinking past stuff. But you're right. I mean, I enjoy that too. But I enjoy that just when I drive home in general, just because it's a 3-hour drive and you're 3 hour and yours about the same from here to Austin from. Maybe about about 3.5 hours.
4.5.
4.5, something like not terrible,
Yeah.
about the same roughly.
Yeah.
Give or take that, depending on traffic. Yeah, I guess that is it can be a little sad. I would maybe say it's more reflective. Because sad would be like, oh my God, look at those families. They don't have anybody. That's
Well,
so sad.
It's not like I'm crying, but
So sad.
yeah. But yeah, you also meet a lot of I end up meeting a lot of like homeless people during the holidays and stuff.
Oh, you see that's sad. I mean, that is a bit depressing.
That is a little sad, especially since like people don't help out the homeless that often. Yeah, and there is something. Well, it's also nice because it's just being able to take that little bit of time off of 24/7 work.
Yeah.
Like I'm used to running at 1 billion miles an hour, just nonstop. So whenever I'm not running 1 billion miles per hour, it leaves my mind wandering a lot. And I've always said like one of the most dangerous things I could do is be alone with my thoughts. But yeah, the holidays gives an interesting wrapping for how to think and what to think, and I really like that aspect of it.
Yeah, I mean that's the one thing I will say I love about the holidays in general is honestly, I mean it's I say holidays because like Thanksgiving is also included in my head when I think about this, but I'm always thankful when I go home. I mean it's hard to express that to my mom and my dad. Not because I don't want to express it to them. It's just it usually gets into some, usually what'll happen. And I won't go into all sort of family stuff like that. But no matter what happens, no matter what weird arguments or weird discussions happen, I'm always thankful that I get to spend time with my family when I do. And even though I guess you don't get that way until you start getting older. Because obviously as a kid, I never thought about this stuff. But as you get older and you realize just how kind of special those are. Mm-hmm. You tend to want to have those memories again, and even as an adult, I like doing that. I like spending time with family. I like seeing my mother, my father, my brother. Like I like seeing that. I don't mind seeing my extra family either. They're fun, but if I think of the people that I really want to spend, any sort of holiday with, my Christmas, my Thanksgiving, it's my mom, my dad, my brother. Like those are the three people that I want to spend the time with. And that's the people I want to see. Like and I jokingly say those are the holidays I have to meet, but those are the holidays I want to be with. Those are the holidays I want to see them at. Those are the ones I want to be a part of because I know that those memories are special. And even thinking in the past, like those memories are special. I mean, those are things that subconsciously shape me who I am in weird ways. Like, I got a Game Boy from my parents. I got Nintendo and things like that. And those are, I've got computer stuff from them and, all these sort of weird things that made me who I am today. You know, I am partially, you know, beyond all the pop culture, you know, flotsam and jetsam that swirl on my brain. You know, a good portion of what helped me grow up, my parents, and I'm always thankful to be around them in holidays. I really ever get mushy, but that's what I think about, you know.
Well, you know, the sentimentality of the backlog.
Yeah.
It really brings it out with the the flickers. And I think the swirling smoke represents the tumultuous.
Go on. Go on. Try your best to make this bullshit real.
Elements of society when in such a frenetic, heated state.
Do you think this is going to have credits?
Oh, I hope so. I didn't even think about that.
Do you think, because we have a minute
How
left.
awesome would that be if it was just like one credit and it was just like everything by George Ford, and then it cuts to a Netflix original.
Oh God! All right. Well, we have a minute left, at least, while we wait for the potential credits. Let's get out our usual stuff. Brant, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at Gatawag. Also, just like Brant Hughes, places, some, I don't know,
things.
I'm out there.
There you go.
The truth is out there.
It is. Of course, you can find me. I'm at Vincent404 there on the Twitters, and Roberto Villegas everywhere else for the most part. If you want to check out some of our other previous content, such as our Expectations versus Reality from 500 Days of Summer, as watched by Mark Webb.
Yep.
You
Straight
can
up.
head over to Cinematalkraphy.com, CosmicRadio.TV/cinematography. And of course, if you just are more of a YouTube person, you can head over to YouTube.com/CosmicRadio.TV for all the content there. You can give us an email, let us know what other films you'd like us to watch, cinematography@gmail.com, or hit us up on Twitter @cinematography.
Yep.
And that's pretty much where all you find us, and where all our content lives. And as we have only about 40 more seconds in this, anticipating the potential for credits, I gotta ask you
what's
one
gonna
last
happen?
thing.
Yeah.
Do you think this is just a one looping clip?
No.
Couldn't have been, right? I
No.
mean-
Look at
Whoa.
look at that log move.
Oh man, yeah, this fire's actually dying.
Yeah.
Oh, come
But
on.
will it die fast enough?
Will
I'm afraid we're not going to get the kind of resolution that I'm looking out of this film.
will it blend?
Oh, Roberto.
Let's wait. Let's see. 10, 9, 8. Oh my
Oh, a
god.
fade out.
Oh my god.
Fade out and no credits.
Bullshit.
What an upset. Although, season 1, episode 2.
Shall we go on to episode 2? No. We save episode 2 for next year. Hi, people. This has been a CosmicRadio.TV production. For more awesome shows, head on over to our website, CosmicRadio.TV.